Today it is time for a professional match of StarCraft 2, and what I've got for you is a Protoss versus Terran on Acropolis. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of the map and playing with the red Protoss probes. From South Korea we are looking inside of the main base of Zest. And his opponent in the opposite corner playing with the blue Terran SCVs. From France we have none other than Clem. So over the last couple of weeks, I've casted a ton of Terran versus Protoss and a lot of StarCraft 2 in general. Now, I've casted TVPs of both of these players, but never against each other. Gotta say though, Clem has looked extremely impressive. I remember I casted a game where, if I'm not mistaken, he went up against Showtime, and he basically figured out how to make Marines, Marauders, and Medivacs, and he just went absolutely ham on the aggression. He basically attacked for what seemed to be like 10 minutes straight. He just played extremely aggressively, and I mean, I was impressed. It was really, really cool. Likewise, actually, for Zest too, I recently casted a game where he went up against none other than Maru, one of the very best, if not the very best Terran players in the world. And there's no denying that that Zest in that match also looked very impressive. So I'm curious to see what he's going to pull off in this game against Clem. I think this is going to be a fun clash of play styles, so let's figure it out together. A little bit of harassment right here in the early game. Now, I can't help but notice that there's a little bit of a curious wall-off happening over here. I mean, yeah. He is indeed gonna complete that wall right now with a cybernetics core, and I mean, I don't think a unit can fit through there, right? I don't think it's gonna happen. That looks like it's not actually gonna be a Reaper opener here in the first place anyway for Clem. Decides to go for the Marine right now. Tries to see if he can snipe that probe as well, but I think the probe should be able to get on out of there. I mean, SCV is gonna chase it just because otherwise it's gonna harass the SCV that's building the command center. But yeah, there's not gonna be a Reaper right now, so I guess that Clem won't really find out about this full wall off anytime soon anyway. I am curious though, now that Zest is planting down a Nexus behind it as well, I want to know what he actually plans on using this from, right? I guess this gives you a strong staging ground, but especially if you decide to expand towards a third over here or a third over here, it's gonna make the game a little bit awkward. I mean, at some point you're likely gonna have to replace that pylon with maybe one over there. I don't know. I wish I could ask him why he decides to go for this wall over here. I haven't seen that all too often. Anyways, it is going to be an adept right now into a Stalker. There's also a single probe that made its way all the way to the northern section of the map. This is right outside of the main base here of the Terran player. Not sure what he's actually going to build over here either. He could go ahead and play, I guess, pretty proxy heavy. There is going to be that Twilight Council inside of the main base, so I don't really know. We're going to have to keep an eye out here. This is very much so a Zest game already, okay? He's doing already a little bit something wonky. Oh my god, that command center. Very close to finishing there. Now, there are going to be two Hellions here in a second as well. I mean, he just needs to get once. Oh god. Pfft. Dude. Oh my god. This is painful. That is really painful. I mean, it's not even so much that you delay the command center. It's very much so also the mental game, right? I mean, at that point you're like, oh my god, stupid Protoss players always go around killing my stuff. Now Zest does actually now bring that probe on over towards the third base, and he does plant down a pylon confidently right next to where all of those Terran units are located. Since it is going to be Hellions, I guess they're going to have a very hard time killing any of these structures. It's not going to be like a Cyclone here or something along those lines. That may very well need a bunker over here, because if this is going to be aggression, yeah, this is certainly something that he needs to be preparing for. Okay, there is a bunker coming up. So it's going to be a gateway as well as a shield battery. Shield batteries obviously help out regenerate the shields of wounded Protoss units. And likewise, the gateway also helps out with this aggression in the sense that it allows you to warp in units much more quickly. Now, the blink upgrade is coming up here as well for Zest. And already, man, I'm a fan of this kind of style. You guys know it. I'm a big fan of this kind of hyper-aggression. But then again, Clem has also shown that he's very good when it comes to that aspect of the game. Bunker does finish right here. SCV's pulled immediately to try and repair it up as well. Actually, you know what? Clem has decided to just go ahead and now load those Hellions inside of a Medivac. So he's going to be able to maybe actually just fly past this wall off. There's a third Nexus now coming up as well for Zest, who certainly plans on being aggressive, but he's going to have to deal with these Hellions first. Well, I think he's going to be more than okay, right? There we go. Medivac does get shut down, but still, it only takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a probe. So even though he was technically defended, that's still 5 workers going down. At the cost, though, of a bunch of Hellions and then that Medivac, I think this is still okay. Now, Blink is going to finish up here in just a little bit. There's going to be a robotics facility as well, so I guess that's going to be helpful. Zest, though, is likely going to be able to... Why? Why did you not kill it? I guess he's really worried. Yeah, he doesn't really know exactly about all of the timings, obviously. Yeah, he did not want to take that risk of losing all of those Marines on the retreat, right? Huh, I really think he could have killed that, but anyways. This is still certainly going to be something where Zest can obviously blink past the wall, or I guess just kill the pylon and replace the pylon. But he's definitely going to be able to start blinking back and forth here towards the safety of that shield battery. What a curious start. And you know what? This looks like a very aggressive opener, and obviously it is, but Clem did not see that third nexus, so that means that Zest, I mean, he could definitely go all in here, but he doesn't have to. Siege tank in the back, though, very, very critical. Yeah, that tank immediately launched a massive shell right there, hitting most of those stalkers, so I think that's going to be most of this aggression shut down relatively easily. Thing is, though, Clem has been cutting a couple of SCVs here and there, right? He's really been focusing on just trying to establish the defenses. Now, he has figured out roughly what's going on. Now, starting up the stim pack as well as that combat shield upgrade. We also do see the +1 infantry weapon upgrade here instead of that engineering bay. This is the classical Terran timing attack in TvP where you go for stim pack, combat shield, and +1 infantry weapons all at the same time. So they all finish up around the same time as well. And you're going to be able to execute a pretty nice push right when all of that finishes. Yeah, Marines, Marauders, Medevacs, Siege tanks. Okay. Now, this is kind of like a similar approach to what we saw Zest play against Maru, where he basically sold one strategy and then he went for the exact opposite. So in this game, he is selling the story of, I'm playing hyper-aggressive, please do not come out and attack me. You definitely should not come out and attack me because I'm being aggressive. Reality is, though, he really only went for a couple of Blink Stalkers and then made a third base. Very greedy style here by Zest, who's now sitting at a massive economical advantage. Already going up towards the 4th nexus as well. Zest. What a crazy way of playing. This is one of those things that you don't see a lot of Protoss players do, so I can imagine, like, playing against this is the worst. Because still, I mean, Clem, I mean, now he figures it out, right? He finally scanned over there. He figured out, oh my god, your Stalker numbers are not even remotely high enough. What is going on here? And he finds out about that 3rd base here, but he doesn't know about the 4th nexus yet. Now, the real question is, yeah, Zest has been selling a great story here. Is he going to have enough as well right now to hold on to that counterattack? Looks like the +1 armor upgrade here is going to be in time to defend against potentially this push as well, but I don't know if it's quite going to be enough, though. There is that single Immortal available, very important. A couple of Widow Mines right there in the back, too. Charge slots did finish up, too. A lot of charge slots, though, do charge right on top of one of those Widow Mines. A lot of them do take damage. Right now, Stutter stepping forward. This is where Clem shines. He loves playing this kind of continuous aggression-focused play style. He's gonna be caught in the corner here, though, but I guess he can always pick up on those, or with those Medevacs and get on out of there. 4th Nexus, incidentally, also gets scouted. And, well, I think that Clem is gonna be deflected here for the time being. So, 3rd Command Center finally did finish up, but this is still obviously a phenomenal position right now for the Protoss player. I would love to see a transition at this point in the game to maybe like... I know a lot of Protoss players have started being scared of, like, for example, going High Templar because of the new Ghost upgrade. But any kind of splash damage really would do, right? So I wouldn't mind seeing, like, a Robotics bait to go either for, like, Disruptors or Colossi or something along those lines. Or just simply still go for High Templar, even though it seems like a lot of Protoss players right now don't enjoy playing that unit as much anymore. We'll see what Zest wants to transition into. So far, just primarily focused on gateway-based units, and then a couple of those Immortals in the mix, too. It's gonna be a 2nd Forge instead, though. This is all a pretty... yeah, there you go. He goes for double upgrades. This is all a pretty, like, expensive set of units to make, especially when you're only on 3 gases. So, I mean, he could take so many more. Oh, my God. I just realized he's only on 3 gas. Wait. So if you're on 3 gas, right? Let me get this straight. You're not going to be able to tech up very easily. You're not going to be able to really get a, you know, a splash damage army out, which is usually where I feel like Protoss shines. Here's a Widow Mine drop, though, going over towards that 4th base. No response yet from Zest! Say goodbye to your probes. There you go. 12 probes go down in the blink of an eye. He is now securing the 5th base as well, but this is such a cool way of playing. So he is basically not gathering nearly as much gas, meaning that the ratio of minerals to gas is going to go heavily in favor of minerals, more so than we see in most games, right? So he's spending those minerals on getting more and more expansions. I wonder if at some point he decides to take all of the gases and maybe go like straight into Stargate or something along those lines. I mean, that's the ideal late game army, obviously, that you build as Protoss, right? You focus on a lot of those Tempests and maybe even some carriers or something along those lines. But anyways, for now, it's just going to be gateway units because he cannot afford anything else. You're not going to be able to afford very much other than gateway units when you're this low in the gas count. In the meantime, though, on the side of Terran, he has been happily macroing up every single unit that starts with an M, and then also Medivacs. So that is Marine Mine Medic, or Marine Mine Medivac Marauder, and I guess Liberators and a few Ghosts in there too. Now the Ghosts are pretty preemptive. Obviously, they're still going to be great though with their EMPs. Look at that, still really reducing the HP right there of some of those gateway units. Great kiting backwards though by Clem, really trying to bait all of those zealots to charge forward into the Widow Mines, and so far that's exactly what has happened. You gotta be careful though, sometimes you accidentally do that, and then you drag those Widow Mines over your own army instead. Great control here by Zest, does sacrifice a couple of the zealots, but that's exactly what he wants. That means all of these mines can be picked off, and while he's likely gonna have to back up until the reinforcing zealots come in, he should be in a decent enough position right now as well. Now Liberators here, forcing some multitasking on the other side of the map too. Once again, EMP lands right on top of all of those zealots. Stalkers blink towards the right-hand side, try to target fire down a few of these Medivacs. Not gonna happen though. Marauders still shelling away constantly as well, and in the meantime, a lot of probes are being killed. This is a lot of denied mining time right now, and you know what? Even though he's on 5 Nexi, he really doesn't have the economy to even support 3. I mean, if he would have taken the gases, that is, right? Like, he really doesn't have that much money. He's got barely any gas income here. This is so strange. Look at the amount of minerals that he's got here as well. He could warp in like another 15 zealots. He does maintain this high ground advantage, meaning that Terran has to continuously scan. But I still feel like this is where Clem really likes to take this matchup. There are a couple of wounded Stalkers inside of that prism. Once again, massive EMP, really reducing the effectiveness of a lot of these Protoss units as well. This is also the same reason why we don't really see a lot of Archons anymore. Slowly but surely, it seems like the Protoss numbers are going up, but then the reinforcing Terran's units come in as well. We see the Widow Mines connect, and a lot of those bruised Stalkers do find their grave here too. I think this is the moment, yeah, where indeed Zest is gonna have to get on out of here. Might be able to save that Immortal. Nope, not gonna happen. Prism was a little bit too late with the turnaround, and that means Clem is gonna be able to start the harassment over here too. He does scan the top right-hand corner, does scan the base over here too. Knows that right now he's going up against the 5th Nexus of his opponent, but still, it's a little bit deceiving, right? When you look at the worker count right now, it's 57 versus 60. It's not like the worker count is that heavily here in favor of the Protoss player whatsoever. I mean, not when you take into account all of those mules and whatnot as well. So look, I like the thought process behind it. I'm really starting to look at this Terran Ball, and it's getting too big to just deal with when you go for gateway-based units, right? Like, what exactly are you gonna do when this army maxes out when you don't have splash damage? Are you gonna try and just defend with upgrades? I guess that's his plan right now. Make a ton of units, go for that massive A-move Protoss Ball. It's a cool strategy and concept if you can maintain a small Terran force, right? At this point, though, it seems to be Clem who's in charge of the matchup, right? Of the pace of the game. And he's just adding on more and more units. He's just continuously laying down the law, and he's slowly growing an army. Now, that was a really good charge forward there. Zealot's getting a lot of surface area on a lot of those units. Once again, good pickup right there in that Warp Prism. But slowly but surely, that Protoss army is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. 3-3 coming up already. Pretty quick. I mean, this is the point where 2-2 starts up. That's pretty insane, man. Like, this is actually a crazy stall by Zest. Maybe it's not 100% flushed out yet, and he's still, it's like a work in progress kind of strategy. But he has 3-3 starting up when his opponent is just starting up 2-2 in TVP. That never really happens. Oh, pick it up. Good work. It's just that those Widow Mines, right? Like, those Widow Mines force this Protoss army to be so much smaller constantly because he doesn't have, like, splash damage to deal with them. So every time these Zealots charge forward, they charge into a couple of Widow Mines, and those connections do not mess around. Also, gotta say, really love the addition here of the Ghosts. Once again, by the way, just like he did against Showtime, Clem is now laying down the law constantly, right? At some point, he's gonna make that switch towards Liberators, and that's where this Protoss army is gonna struggle. Liberators, when you have like a near maxed out Terran force to back it up as well, very difficult. Those EMPs basically remove the shields out of the Protoss units, and that's where a lot of these Protoss units get their beefiness, right? So many of them constantly get killed. So I would have loved to see like some disruptors or something along those lines. I know they have become pretty popular at this point in the meta. Third base is mining out with the gases not even being taken. I'm so confused here. I'm in awe, but also confused, and it's beautiful. But I'm not sure if I like it. I feel many different things when I cast StarCraft 2, okay? No, but seriously though, that is really cool. Not something we generally speaking see. I'm just curious if it is gonna work. By the way, in the meantime, while Clem is microing over here, somehow, some way, he's found like another set of hands, I suppose, and maybe like another monitor, so he can like open this game twice to go ahead and also get a fourth base up. So that fourth base right now is a great staging ground as well, like an anchor in this game where he can fall back to if he needs to. Because Protoss is not just gonna, you know, walk into a planetary fortress very easily. So I think that this style that Zest is playing is great if you can keep Terran, say, below like 120 or so supply. Right now, Clem is fast approaching maxed out. He's gonna have 2-2 here, done in just a little bit too. I mean, the upgrade advantage here obviously is pretty noticeable for Zest, but only there for a couple more minutes. Once 3-3 starts up, it's inevitably going to finish too, so I guess this is what Zest realizes too right now. He's like, you know what, I'm going to go for the counter-attack instead. A couple of Marines and Marauders get split off from the pack. They're going to start harassing over at this fourth base. In the meantime, though, the majority of the Protoss army is now marching across the center of the map. He does not want to attack into the planetary fortress, blinks up towards the high ground instead, takes out the Liberator. Now the reinforcing Terran forces, though, that were on the other side of the map are going to have a pretty easy time here, right? I mean, that's still just Stalkers going up against Marines, Marauders, and Medivacs. That is something we've seen a million times in StarCraft 2, and it never really works out particularly well in the mid-game for the guy playing with all of these Stalkers, so he is going to have to blink on out of there. Clem wanted to go for the finishing blow there, not quite going to be able to get that done, and Zest stays in this game for a little while longer. 3-3 not started up yet, actually. That's quite a big deal. I guess he didn't really have the money to start that up either. Once again, this is the moment where that Terran army is much smaller, right? We're at 140 supply here at most, which is definitely not nearly as scary as 160 supply, and the mining here for Protoss is still significant. Now he finally decides to take 2 additional gases over at the fourth base too. I wonder if that's just because the gases in the main base are actually run out. May very well be the case. He just wants to go Stalkers and Zealots. I mean, it's kind of like we're watching StarCraft 1 here, right? I mean, gateway units in StarCraft 1 are always the name of the game. It's what the pro gamers in StarCraft 1 play all the freaking time. Oh, there's a Liberator over here. I was going to say. What is attacking that? But it's just a single Liberator in the top right-hand corner of the map. I do like this, though. I mean, when you think of, like, the fantasy of, like, the Terran versus Protoss matchup, right? It is going to be, like, biological humans going up against like robotic gateway units, right? Like yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense. This is sick. Ooh. Gotta be careful though, do not lose that prism. That is so many Zealots? That's... The thing is, there's so many Widow Mines still, right? Like, if these Widow Mines connect on the Zealots, it's gonna be crazy. There we go, Stalkers do blink forward. Zealots trying to connect there as well. And there we have most of that Terran army right now taking care of most of those gateway units as well. I still favor Clem here in this scenario. He's been fighting bravely for a very long time. Finally scrambled out the resources as well to start up the +3 upgrade. Gotta be careful though, those Widow Mines are super critical. Here we go, a bit of a flank as well. And you know what, maybe this was an overextension here from the Terran player. Once again though, there's a back and forth, an absolute slugfest right here in the center of the map. Prism comes in a little bit late. Once again, it tried to pick up that Immortal. Not quite gonna happen, but here we go. A lot of reinforcing Zealots on the right-hand side. They did just waste their charge cooldown, meaning that once again, the Terran player can kite quite comfortably against all these units. But look at the amount of reinforcements. Whoa! Where did Clem all of a sudden get that massive chunk of his army from? I would love to see some harassment over here too, right? Like imagine like a group of Zealots coming in on that side of the map, maybe a couple over here too. The thing is, Zest has been fighting this army non-stop, and it's been going pretty well. Initially though, he was fighting 3 base Terran. Right now he's going up against 5 base Terran instead. And the longer that goes on, right, the harder it's gonna be, because he really secured 5 bases. I think that was supposed to, like, drive it home much, much quicker. And right now that he's been forced to stay in this game for longer, he's in a bit of an awkward spot. Look at how large that Terran force is. Well, maybe he's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Okay, there we go, by the way. Finally, a big Zealot run by over towards the third base. I think that this is a little bit late, but he's going to be able to start working on some of that production. This now forces some multitasking as well for this Terran player, although Clem does never really seem to struggle in that department of StarCraft 2. A couple of probes right now. Looks like they wanna move on over towards that base on the high ground too, with the 5th base running low at the 20-minute mark. Zealots over here will be cleaned up eventually, I think, by those reinforcing Terran units. Although the Widow Mines, ooh, they almost killed a lot of the SCVs there in that mineral line. Still a very successful run by though, but at this point in the game, Zest is starting to run out of money. He never really went over 60 probes, even though he's got himself so many mining bases. He's now going to try and secure this base over here, but lo and behold, there's a command center right to the left of it as well. Clem, though, of course, wants to continue the aggression once again. He's been relentless with this push, and he has not, won the game yet. He wants to continue fighting. He's smelling blood in the water. He wants to continue going here. A little bit of pickup micro there as well from Zest, but I mean, look at that Terran force. It is now nearing max out. 188 supply, or 183 right now versus 132. There we go. Once again, those Widow Mines are the key anchors to fall back into. Zest is taking a lot of shots there from those mines. Eventually, with some non-stop back and forth action, Clem is the one who comes out victorious. But I do want to compliment the style here that Zest was playing. Maybe Clem sniffed it out early as well, right? He's like, you know what? I know what you're doing. You're just going to go gateway units. I'm just going to continuously pressure you, so you're not going to be able to do a lot of counterattacks, and then expand myself as well. See how you like playing 5 base versus 5 base. It was a beautiful scenario to be in when Zest was playing 3 base versus 5 base. Him being the one with 5 bases, obviously, but it got a lot worse there when the Terran army grew and when the Terran economy also grew over time. I guess that's what happens when you don't take splash damage, but still. It's a really cool way of playing, right? I would have never expected him to mine out his 5th base at the 20-minute mark. That's crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. Well, regardless, if you enjoyed watching this video, which I assume you did, make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. I would much appreciate it. Also, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.